I think most people would choose Kawhi and anybody else over the Harden and Westbrook situation. And I think Kawhi and Paul George, while we all agree Paul George isn't quite up to that level to be a number 2 on a championship team, I'm not sure that we think Westbrook is either. I think Westbrook is a good player in certain situations. Yeah, I don't think that. So you think Westbrook is on the level of Anthony Davis and LeBron James? Like Westbrook is on that dynamic duo level?
No, the record shows that that's not the case. No, the record shows that's not the case. In fact, I took the Clippers not because I thought, number one, LeBron was slipping due to age and injury, and I was wrong about that. And number two, I didn't think they got the details right, and I was wrong about that. But one thing that they obviously got right, which is the number one determining factor in the history of the NBA in terms of winning championships, they had 2 top 5 players on the same team. And that's how you win. Like, in the history of the NBA, almost never do 2 top 5 players not win the championship. It's not Westbrook. My favorite player, Westbrook. I love how aggressive he is at all times, how much effort he puts out. He's not a top 5 player, Perk. When he and Paul George were on the same team, Paul George was the best player on the team. By the way, indisputably, he was, until he got hurt, an MVP candidate, right? So, like, you're talking about...
Yeah, Max, that's
you're
because...
talking about Yeah?
Max, that's because Russ deferred to Paul George because he wanted Paul George to go out there and be great. And if you look at it, that was the best season that Paul George had, but playing with Russell Westbrook, a guy that is an engine to a car. And we sitting up here downplaying how great of a player Russell Westbrook is. But if you were starting a franchise right now, you are not going to sit up here and tell me that you're going to pick Paul George over Russell Westbrook. That's just not happening. Paul George did not
Paul George looks really bad at this moment
this season.
Paul George looks really bad at the moment because he had a very bad postseason, and he has that reputation coming in. Most people would take Paul George over Russell Westbrook when they played on the same team. Paul George was the best player. I agree with you about Westbrook that he's more of a team player than he's given credit for, but his playoff record is what it is. He's been paired with a lot of great talent throughout his career. He has generally underperformed in terms of where you would anticipate his team would wind up versus where they do wind up. And is James Harden better than Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs? No.
Max, do I have to go back and revisit the Oklahoma City days, a closeout game in Utah where Russell Westbrook went for 45 and Paul George went for 5 points? Do I have to revisit those moments? Do I have to revisit that Russell Westbrook went to the NBA Finals and dropped a 40-plus against a Miami Heat team, although they lost? Russell Westbrook is battle-tested. Russell Westbrook has an MVP. We're talking about a guy that averaged a triple-doubles for 3 consecutive seasons. Before he got hurt, Max, before the pandemic, Russell Westbrook was tearing the league up. No one could stop him. Are we forgetting that? We were sitting up here debating whether it was Russ' team or James Harden team.
But that's another issue, Perk. That's another issue. Westbrook has an alpha personality, but a beta skill set when he's paired with another superstar. That's one of the problems. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.